Hi guys, welcome back to HADAL TV. Today we have a special guest, Naz. Naz, how are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, bro. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome.
Thank
So
you for having me here.
Yeah, you're welcome, more than welcome. Also, we got Ahmed.
That's me.
Those who don't know, and obviously my name is Asad. We have Naz here today. Naz is obviously, I'm not saying you're an expert, but
not an
obviously
expert,
you're we're gonna be chatting about Yemen today. Obviously,
Dun,
Naz
dun,
is
Buckle up.
put that music in later on. Ding, ding, ding. You know what I mean?
Alright, go on.
Don't leave, stay with us.
Yeah.
Obviously, Naz is Yemeni, so obviously he knows a lot more than we do. So, and obviously he was born there. Obviously, I don't
I
know.
was raised there.
Okay, so obviously he can give us a bit of background of what's happening for the past few years. I think Yemen went through a lot recently. So let's start with before the government, obviously, before the government actually fell. Because it was like, obviously, the government fell through a couple of years ago. I can't remember exactly what year it was.
Yes. So there was problems in Yemen since 1962, where the new government became. So it was a kingdom of Yemen before 1962. In 1962, a revolution happened. Yemen became a different country, separated to two, south and north. And then 1990, Yemen became one piece of land, north and south. From 1990 until 2011, everything was going smoothly. People are living life, chilling. And then Arab Spring, when all the problems started in Egypt, in Syria, Libya,
Yeah.
it also started in
So
Yemen.
sweeping through the whole Middle East.
Yes.
Yeah.
It also happened in Yemen. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't peaceful too.
Yeah.
At the end, 2012, 2013, the president had decided that he wants to come down and gave the leadership to his deputy. After that, it was a kind of a transfer between 2012-13 to 2014. One of the things that they decided they want to do is Yemen was going to be divided into like 5 regions.
Okay.
And instead of people were fighting for Yemen to be 1 instead of 2.
So who decided that?
I can say the short answer is the Americans.
Yeah.
The long answer is we want to make Yemen better. These people are fighting over power, so we're going to give regions to different people, and this is what's going to happen. So the older president, Ali Abdullah Saleh,
Okay.
got united with the Houthis,
Okay.
and then they took over the country. They basically went to the capital city. They took the president as a hostage, took over the government. For a few months, they said, okay, we're going to have a new government. Everything was going smoothly until the president ran away. He ran to Saudi, and then they asked for help from there, and then this is when the big event started.
So the Saudis got involved, basically.
Yes, we're talking March 2015. When we're talking about March 2015, when Saudi started the war against Yemen, it was not a war for Saudi. They took it on behalf of the United States because the United States did not like the Houthis to be in control since then.
For obvious reasons.
Now the Americans or the United States is hitting Yemen is not because of what's happening. It's because they already tried to hit the Houthis back in the day, but they couldn't get rid of them. That's because of the way the Houthis operate, and because of the way they have took control of the whole land, of the whole government, with the weapons, with the institutions, with the help of the military, the old Yemeni military, the new Houthi fighters. It's just all come to a big power that they can't get rid of.
So is the Houthis right now controlling the whole country, or it's like is a certain regions where they control the most?
They control the most areas by cities and public, but they're not controlling majority of the land.
Okay.
Because majority of the land is basically a desert, and that's under control of different people.
Okay.
We're talking about the South Yemenis who are backed by the Emiratis. We're talking about the the Yemeni government, which needs to go back to the capital by Saudis, and we're talking about Al Qaeda as well, which controlling certain parts of Yemen too. So yeah, the Houthis are not controlling the majority of the land, but they're controlling the capital city, majority of the cities, and majority of people of Yemeni people. Obviously.
So obviously going back to the 2015 war,
Yeah.
you said basically Saudis got involved on behalf of obviously the Americans or whatever ideas that's going.
Yeah.
So their beef was with the Houthis, isn't it?
Yes.
So they wanted.
It wasn't just with the Houthis, it was with the Houthis and the Yemeni military, because don't forget in 2015, the old Yemeni president was in alliance with the Houthis. It was a whole government, it was a whole new government, so it was not just the Houthis. It was majority of people. Don't forget that President Ali Abdullah Saleh, he had majority of Yemen supported him, even though he gave the government, people were like calling for him to come back to power. Even people that went and called against him for him to come down of power, they were not anywhere near the number that people supported him. But he still gave the government, you know? So at that time, 2015, it wasn't just the Houthis that were controlling Yemen, it was Houthis and the older president. So yeah, I wouldn't call it a war against the Houthis. It was just against Houthis controlling Yemen with Ali Abdullah Saleh, you know, with the older president.
So what do you think the interest, Saudi's interest in Yemen is? Because obviously it's going to be, we can have an opinion on this. What's your opinion on this?
We can disagree on this, but their opinion, first of all, is they don't want any good friends of Iran to be in control of somewhere next to their border. Second of all, we're talking about the geographic points of Yemen.
Yeah, it's
which
very
is
crucial.
very, very important. You know, this is a very, very good, very big interest for Saudis. If they took control over that, or if they in good control with someone who is controlling Yemen or in charge of Yemen, then they're winning. You know, so that's their biggest interest.
Interesting.
Just for those who don't know why Yemen is geographically located in a very prime location, what is it about their location?
It's Bab el-Mandab. I forgot what it was called in English.
Suez Canal?
No, Suez Canal, that's
It's
up north
outside.
in Egypt.
So
that's
Go-
somewhere
is it-
else.
Mandab is
I know
the-
that it's in the Gulf of Aden or something like that. It's basically.
No, it's called Bab el-Mandab. It's
Is this? It's like a small shipping corridor
Yeah, that little
that goes
corridor.
through between Africa and
give
obviously
it a
Yemen.
good search.
And what makes it like... I'm guessing that's where a lot of
Yes,
business travels from.
it's called Bab el-Mandab in English too.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Unlike the Suez Canal and other ones.
it is a very small area for all the ships around the world goes through. I think it's like 30% of the world trading goes through there.
Yeah, and then basically, if the Bab el-Mandab is closed, there's no point of the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is basically
Basically,
pointless.
you have to go around Africa.
Because that's the exit, the Suez Canal.
Okay.
The entrance is Bab el-Mandab.
Okay,
You know, so
I'm with you
if
now.
they go through the Bab el-Mandab and the Suez Canal is closed, then they're trapped. Or
Yeah.
if they go through Suez Canal
And
and the Bab el-Mandab is closed, then they're trapped in there as well. So there's no exit.
So that's why I see all these like graphics of ships going all the way around.
Going all the way around because they can't get through there. And it's not all ships, let's be honest. A lot of ships are going through. It's just the Israeli ships, ships that have any relations to do with Israel, or ships that are going directly to Israel. But now they included the American and the United States ships as well, because they're the ones that took the war on behalf of Israel to stop the blockade.
So, okay, fast forward now, obviously, there's a lot that's been happening recently in Yemen, obviously. Even though Yemen, obviously, that since the whole war with Saudi stopped, because there was, at the time, that was quite a rough war as well, because obviously, going back them days, I remember, like, there was a lot of people were cut off from the world, there was no food going in, there was a lot of famine. There was like horrible scenes on TV.
Yes, that's true. It was 100 times worse than it is now. Back in the day, when Saudis were actually hitting Yemen, putting airstrikes against Yemen, it was 10 times worse what the Americans are doing now. It was It was crazy, bro.
No,
They were testing all sort of weapons in Yemen, and they got rid of nothing. That's the problem. They say, okay, we're hitting military bases, we're hitting the military camps, we're hitting air bases, whatever. It was none of that, bro. Because after 3 weeks of them starting the operation, they said we got rid of 85% of the Houthis and their many military's weapons. About 3 weeks later, they come out with all sort of weapons that started hitting Saudi with all these missiles that are going and reaching Riyadh as well, which is like 2,000 kilometers.
Yeah, I remember. Like, there was when they did a Formula One race at some point, I can't remember. There was some explosion happened in Riyadh, I think, or something like that. It was like years ago now.
About 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Maybe? Yeah,
something like
2015,
that.
2016, that's when
It was about to get messy. But I think they did come to some sort of conclusion.
Yes, what you spoke about is not the one that gone really, really famous. That video of all the, the Aramco oil.
Yeah.
That
was the one.
Yeah, that was hit by the Houthis, and that's why the Saudis backed up.
But they tried to blame Iran for that, didn't they? They were saying
they were saying
Iranian
it's
drones or something like that.
yeah, Iranian drones, but it wasn't Iranian drones. The Houthis.
Yeah, because I remember that.
Houthis said
Everyone was
it
pointing a finger
was
at
them,
Iran
yeah.
at the time.
Because it was in Jeddah,
Yeah.
and then there was one which was closer to Iran than it's to Yemen. So
Yeah.
there
It's
was
very
a clash
close, yeah.
between them two.
Yeah. But yeah, so obviously there's a lot's happened the way it looks like it at the times. There was like, you couldn't flick through like social media and stuff like that without seeing all the devastations happening in Yemen at the time. It was like all the charities and everybody was trying to work really hard to try to support. Like, there was a lot of kids and mothers that were suffering in that region of the world at the time. It was really terrible to watch. So what were the conclusion they come up to? Did the Saudi and the Yemenis come to some sort of peacemaker?
Yeah, well,
What happened?
Saudi came up with the funniest thing in the world. They said after that big hit from the Houthis, they thought, okay, we want to join the world now. We are open to everything. We're doing all the parties in the world. We bring in footballers, we bring in boxers, fighters, everything. So we don't want problems here. We want investments. We want to build our country, whatever. They can't do it with the biggest threat on the border. So they said, we're not part of the war. So now Saudis backed off and they said, you Yemeni people, you can, like, okay, we're going to get you together and then you can sort your problems out. So they gave up the old Yemeni government, which was in control before the Houthis, and they said, okay, now you're going to have to sit down with the Houthis and talk about things and basically just
Trying to get some stability.
Get into an agreement. The Houthis were okay with it. They called in all the other side from Saudi, from Emirates, to come back to Yemen and have like peace talks and discussions, and we'll share governments. You guys have this, we'll have this, and then we'll just have a country. They refused. They said no. They just want the country. They don't want the Houthis there whatsoever. So it's just stopped there. It's just been opposed for like 2-3 years now.
So everything's in a limbo at the moment.
Yes, it kind of stopped because of the last events that happened since October 7th and everything. That's when it kind of stopped. But yeah, now we're in a completely different situation. Now,
Excuse
really
me.
different.
So obviously, the current affairs today, the Houthis obviously made a decision to do a blockade on the region of any guns or any Israeli ships or anything to do with like we'll carry on the war in Israel and Palestine. They said they were going to block that until the war ends.
Yes.
And obviously, there were the only two countries, obviously, that were directly involved in the war is South Africa. Obviously, they go on the legal route, and obviously, Yemen
the Houthis,
did
they
the
took the action.
blockade.
Which is fair. I see it. If we look at international law and what it says, any state, any government, anyone can step in and prevent a genocide from happening. You know, it's not something that's, they became terrorists after doing the blockade, after making that point. But before that, they were not. So if we look at the main point of them becoming the bad boys, it's not valid.
Yeah.
It's not a valid point. Anyone can do that. Why
Yeah,
they
I've seen a lot of argument for and against it. Basically, what they've done, obviously, but their stand is doing a blockade until that war ends, and when that
Yes.
blockade ends, then
And it's not a blockade against everyone in the world. Any Chinese ship can go through. Any Indian, any
so it's not just
Spanish,
specific.
German, French, Turkish, anything can go through. It was just the Israeli ships.
Anything that's supporting the war.
Yes, anything to do with the war.
I don't know if you've seen it, Ahmed, but there was a footage of a tribal meeting.
The tribal meeting.
Yeah, it was for Eid, wasn't it?
It was the second day of Eid.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll put that picture up so people can see as well.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah. So it's just a
Everyone's
Yemeni
seen that,
thing.
definitely.
I think Donald Trump basically put a video out. He basically bombed a tribal meeting.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? The one
Yeah,
that he
and they're
posted?
on a circle.
Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a tribal meeting. Obviously, it's a tradition.
Yeah.
Thing. It's always for Eid as
If
well.
you haven't seen it,
You could just go
before
Google it.
this,
It's
where
everywhere.
have you been? But yeah, I've seen that.
So basically, he bombed. They said obviously, the Houthis planning a plot.
Yeah.
They said they're not gonna sink our ships again. That guy is just a clown, bro. I swear.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
It's
like, what's the world
basically
coming to,
how
bro?
bro, this is what happens.
how do they didn't do they haven't done their homework to see what they're looking at? It's actually a tribal meeting for the Eid celebrations and stuff like that. How you just post something like that? And do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like, where do you start with that? I mean, how do you even start talking about something like that? It's like, if you don't know what that is, I mean, you must have some sort of like a foreign office. Do you know what I'm saying?
Failed intelligence, bro.
Who has like some sort of information what goes on in that region. Even if you do know personally, there's got to be people that will know what's going on in that world, who can inform the president. He posted him murdering innocent people and said that they were meeting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's got to be. It makes no sense.
The
How
thing is,
embarrassing is
everyone knows. If you looked at the comments on the actual tweet that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
posted,
Yeah.
people are going crazy. People are actually telling him what that meeting is like. What?
The
How
ritual,
do tribes do that type of meeting? If someone dies on the graveyard, they do that and they just say, okay, let's, for example, read Al-Fatiha for the soul of the person
who
who
passed away,
died. If they have a problem between a tribe and a tribe, they get in a meeting and they all
resolve
do a
it, yeah.
You can just go on YouTube and write tribes meeting in Yemen,
Yeah.
and you see millions. You know, this is the way we do it in Yemen.
But the thing is, like, what surprised me more than anything is, he is a president of the United States. You telling me, like, no one said anything to him, like,
Bro, it's Donald
advised
Trump.
him about anything? Because this is embarrassing in
Let me
international.
tell you something, Assad. The only reason he gets away with something like that is because he's the president of the United States. Otherwise, he would not be in power. A man like him should not be in power. Tell me something good about him in politics. He had no political career through his life.
That's
He's
for me.
just-
That is
He's just
crazy.
in the right place, the wrong person in the right place.
even if he was advised that that's what that is, and he actually bragging about it now, saying, "Oh, and now it's like the whole world is laughing." But it's like, you killed tribal men.
That's
How
not
are you
even,
gonna-
bro. That's not even the worst thing in
It's
the
like
world.
there was no apology. There was no like, oh, we made a mistake here.
Yeah, I've not seen anything after that.
Nothing. It was like, move on. Like, just, it's like, it's crazy.
Assad, have you seen what they hit before yesterday?
There's 58 people died in it. They're hitting.
No, that's yesterday where they hit the port. 58 people died. The night before it was a graveyard, bro. It wasn't even people meeting. It was
Are
dead
they-
people in
Do
the
you think
graveyard.
they're just bombing it
and
everywhere?
they just bombed it. But that's what they're doing, bro. In Yemen, until now, since 2015 until now, 66,000 airstrikes took against the Houthis.
Yeah, but they're not really finding the Houthis.
They hit in the same places every time. They have few air bases that they know where they are. They keep hitting them. They don't know that the Houthis operate completely different to the way that they think. Okay, they're not gonna make everything visible on that air base. They're not gonna make military camps like any country do, because they are a mix between a government and a militias. You know, they have all of these weapons. They have got drones. They've got everything, but they don't operate like a government. Like they've got air base and that drone would be setting up from there. This is not the way they work.
So basically,
They
these
keep
guys are
attacking-
just terrorizing the local people.
Literally, they're just hitting everything because they've got no choice. They have to take action, because if they don't take action, then they're gonna look silly. And it's a lie, bro. Like a minute ago, we were talking about Tony Blair and George Bush. He had the weapons of mass destruction, whether he didn't. But, you know,
That video that
they
he
just
was
had to
watching.
convince people he did.
Yeah.
So they can go there and, you know, wreak havoc against the Iraqis. It's the same thing, bro. It's politics.
Middle East policies, bro. Like foreign
It's
policies
just-
is wild.
It's crazy, bro.
But I mean, like, obviously, like now, there's a lot of innocent people getting killed in this, which is the sad thing. But like, there's no accountability for it at all. It's like, oh, terrible accident happened, and that's it. Just move on.
Collateral.
Yeah, just move on.
It's just numbers, bro.
Because it doesn't matter, does it? Like,
They don't
it's-
see people's lives, they see numbers.
it doesn't. No, yeah. I mean, nobody. I've not seen any apologies for them because there's a lot of. I think they hit an apartment blocks not recently because they said there was a one fighter that they followed him home or something like that, and they were bragging about it in you know that chat that came out from it got leaked,
Yeah.
and basically one of the fighters went home. He was a member. They waited for him
But
till
that
he get back
wasn't-
to his house.
But that wasn't even true then.
That's what they're
That
saying.
fighter, the name that they were talking about is not being cleaned. He's still there, still out there doing his thing.
So basically, they just got the wrong.
They just
information.
got the wrong information, bro.
It is. How do you supposed to fight if you don't even know what's on the ground, bro?
Exactly, bro. And that's the problem. They don't know anything about what's happening in Yemen. It's because they've always didn't know how to deal with the Yemeni people. You know, they opened. You can go. They are actually promoting it with chest, like openly, on the Israeli newspapers and the Israeli accounts and everything. They are calling for Yemeni people to come and like teach them the Yemeni culture, the Yemeni dialect. How do the Yemenis operate? What do they do? Because in Yemen, it's very different, bro. If you're a spy, if you're working for any intelligence agencies, it's very, very easy to clock you. So that's why they don't have it. Tel Aviv, they opened the new institution just to teach Yemeni culture.
In Israel or in
In
Yemen?
Israel.
Okay.
Like, they're not going to do it in Yemen,
Yeah, I was
bro.
gonna say.
They opened it in Israel and they're calling for people. Like, they're actually willing to pay people $5,000 a month just for that sort of information. It's openly everywhere in the news. You can see it.
Find on Indeed.com.
You know, like because they just want information about Yemen because they don't know anything. They don't have people on the ground to tell them, okay, this guy is there, this guy is there.
Yeah, but it's
that's
hard
why-
it's hard to wage war on people where you don't know anything about what's on the ground because airstrikes is like you don't know what are you hitting,
Yeah, you don't know. You're in the air.
and obviously
you don't
the
know
way it looks like the
who's
Houthis
there.
don't live. They operating from mountains and because it's a massive country, and
It's a
'cause
massive
obviously if they
country
could-
and full of mountains. Like it's mountains everywhere in Yemen. It's about 80% mountains. So
Oh, okay.
it's
I've not
like
heard
a-
in the news any attack that was directly hurt. Houthis
like
was
a,
hurt.
yeah, like a big.
There was a losses
big
on
figure
them.
or
I've not
something.
heard anything. All I'm hearing is like,
no.
oh yeah, the civilians here, the apartment blocks blew up here, they killed the tribal gathering, and that's about it really. And all the airstrikes have like I've not seen even the Americans I've not seen saying they have made they've damaged like some sort of
Taken down
like
this person or
Yeah, I
whatever.
know what you mean.
weapon depot or like they've damaged. There was losses on Houthi side. I've not heard anything. All I'm hearing is like they're hitting the wrong ends and the wrong people that have been suffering for years and years and years from war. It's not a very pretty sight, is it?
No,
So obviously, let's close it up. And where do you think this will go? And what's the end of war looks like for Yemen?
What it looks like is basically this is gonna have to be settled between the United States and Iran. This is the straightforward answer, bro.
It is a pretty strong
You want me
answer.
to be political and
But do you
start
think that's-
asking you about?
Do you think that's happening already? I think there's a lot of
This is
negotiations between,
yeah, it is
between the
happening
United
now.
States and
Yes,
Iran.
indirectly in Oman.
Mm.
So that first phase is gone. The end of it was the Iranians and the Americans meeting, getting together and just for like a couple of minutes, just saying, yeah, things are going good. We're just gonna meet again and carry on the negotiations, and that was it. So now we're waiting. All we're hearing is just news, people talking about it. There's no official statements of what's happening, what's gonna happen. But they're mainly talking about the nuclear program. But this is gonna be one of them.
Yeah, but
Because,
obviously,
you know,
there's
it's a
even
big threat.
American intelligence is saying that they're not building a nuclear weapons anyway. So I don't know what this meeting is about really, because obviously, if American intelligence is saying that these guys are not building a nuclear bomb, and Iranians confirmed that they're not.
It's
building
a whole new subject, bro.
It's just basically
a whole
it's-
new headache that
I think it's a lot more to do with not European, Middle East politics and foreign policy then it has to do with nuclear weapons, because Iran has declared that they're not doing it anyway. But do you think there will be a peace in the Middle East though?
Peace in the Middle East.
Peace in the Middle East.
I know he's. Obviously, you got the Syrians at the moment in time still up in the air. Do you think there will be a? Do you think it will be some sort of? Because I think a lot of peace can come from the fact that if United States and Iran become peaceful with each other,
Yes.
there's a lot of like stability and peace can come from that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I know Netanyahu won't like that at all, but like.
Yeah, he wants war. He wants blood.
Yeah, he wants Iran anyway.
Blood,
yeah,
bro.
He made that very clear.
Iran is number 7 for him because he wanted 6-7 wars in the region.
Yeah,
6
it's all happened. Yeah,
it's all happened. He just wants Iran, and he knows if it happens, it's gonna happen big, bro. It's not gonna be an easy war. God knows what it's
but
gonna
I think Iran is too big and too
big and
powerful,
too
and it'll
complicated.
get too messy now.
Yeah, and
Because
they're not just in Iran, bro. That's the thing. Iran knew how to deal with itself. They knew that they're not gonna leave them alone.
Yeah,
so they had
going
to
to war with
put hands
Iran
everywhere,
is gonna get messy. I don't think
It's not gonna
I don't
happen.
think it's like it'll be like what happened with Iraq or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is like you're talking about.
You're talking about a country fighting a country, not you invading a country
Yeah.
and taking over it.
Because
You know?
if you got ballistic missiles, bro, that they're coming to your house, bro. That's like you hit me, I'll hit you.
And we've seen, bro, when they hit Israel, 300 or 200 missiles, bro, they didn't know where they're coming from. They just
And
ended up
there's
in
no
Israel
air defenses
somehow.
for that at all. But
Yeah.
so it could get messy. I know you're talking about international shipping, you're talking about world trade, you're talking about this can get really messy. It's not good for the world.
It's not good for the world, and
Yeah.
they both
It really
they both
isn't.
know
It's not
it,
good
and
for the
they
Middle
both
East
know
either.
they can't get into war because it's gonna be a whole mess. Trump himself, bro, he always says
He's
something.
not stupid, but he knows. He
Yeah,
knows obviously.
he always says something, and then he does the opposite. He's gonna brag about it. I'm gonna fight Iran. I'm gonna kill Iran. And then when
I
you
honestly
see the
think-
letter that he
I
sends
honestly
to
think
the
that
Iranian supreme
he's-
leader, it's full of respect. Is him begging him to come into the table.
I honestly think like
Well, I swear, bro, it's
the way
completely
Trump
different.
the way Trump is like he does a lot of good things. Like when it comes to relations, politics, and the way he played politics is like he was trying to strong arm people to bring them to the table, but then when the peace come out from it, like he did with North Korea the first time around, he was cussing him and calling him a rocket man.
Yeah, my bottom works better than yours.
Call him a
and-
rocket man, and I got a big bottom. But then became friends. So you never know what you're gonna get. But I think it's the only thing that I can say 100% sure is I don't think Trump will want the Middle East to go on fire
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
the
not a
last
good
thing.
legacy for any president.
Yeah.
And obviously with Iran, that can set the whole Middle East onto fire. I don't think the Saudis want it. I don't think the Emirates want it.
They
I don't
don't
think
want
the
it.
Qataris want it.
All of these countries
Nobody
have
wants
already
it.
sent a message to Iran saying, "Listen."
But I think the Saudis
United
and the
States
Iranians
is not-
already they kind of fixed relations now anyway.
they fixed it, yeah.
So
Because
so
the
they're not
Saudis,
like
they
arch
knew-
enemies that they used to be.
Yeah.
I think China broke that peace between them.
Yeah, they
The
brought
Chinese
it
did it.
2022.
So they obviously the Saudi embassy is open from in there. So they are
2
fixing their
days ago,
relationship.
the Minister of Defense went and met with the Supreme Leader of Iran, the Saudi Minister of Defense, and he took a message from for him, and he said they're ready to expand their relations and go further with everything. That these countries, they said, basically our enemies have took advantage of us not being together and did what they did.
Yeah, because as a
in
region, there's got to
Palestine.
be a common understanding,
You know?
and a goal to work towards.
And I
Because
see
at the end
that,
of the
bro. I'm not against it at all.
Yeah,
This is a very good thing to happen between Saudi and Iran
Because there's a
our,
lot of
our
problem-
problems are coming from them. It's just like the mom and dad and the kids, and the kids are just there.
Yeah.
If those separate, we suffer. So
Yeah.
bring them together, bro.
the
because-
two
but
biggest
we're too
powers in the
tired, bro,
area,
for
yeah.
that. We're too tired.
I don't think that obviously
Too many wars.
if the whole Middle East to get along and they basically have same like a vision for themselves, like when it comes to like a peace and trying to work together, and when it comes to whatever, they can sort a lot of the problems out.
Exactly,
And
bro.
obviously, like they can solve the problem with Yemen out, they can solve the problem with Syria out. All the countries at the moment in time who got a lot of problems going on, the Palestine issue, all of that can be put on the table. But if they're not working together or they're not
It's
trying
not
to
gonna happen.
have a somewhat common understanding, it's never gonna happen. But yeah, anything you want to add?
No, I feel I've learned a thing or two. I'm not really a historian or someone who has political knowledge, so it's always good to sit here and learn a thing or two.
But like obviously,
Always, yeah. Me and Asad talk about this in work every day.
Yeah,
This is what we do, bro.
it's good. It's good.
yeah. But
Especially-
like the history between Yemenis and Somalis is a very very long history.
yes, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even then, my knowledge is not that great. But I know what you're saying.
It's politics, bro. If you're not in that in that subject, if you're not
Is that
interested
something
in
that
the
your
field,
is that your background? No.
I'm studying politics.
Nice.
I'm in my final year now, so
Aye.
yeah.
That's why he's a very
I'm
argumentative
not.
guy.
Yeah.
No.
he doesn't know this yet, Asad. Don't tell him
He
that.
doesn't know it. He's very.
I haven't heard him argue once today. So.
Oh,
Oh,
You're very lucky, man.
We're live, bro. That's why.
The cameras are
You're,
rolling.
you're very lucky, man.
Okay,
Like
fair
me and
enough,
him
fair
can have like a heated debate sometimes.
Okay.
But the thing is, like the one thing that we don't have is obviously because obviously Somalis and Yemenis are like brothers.
Yeah.
There's no
There's no two ways about that.
There's no two ways about that.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
issue. We
Yeah.
mix. We marry each other. Obviously,
Yeah.
we live together. We have the same culture.
Similar.
So yeah,
Very similar culture.
very similar culture. So there is no differences between us, and we don't have no political issue, but we do have other political issues where, when it comes to nothing to do with Yemen and Somalia, obviously, we have different debates about other things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, different like ideas. We disagree in certain things. But yeah, you
when
know,
it comes to like
the wider
in general, yeah, in
the wider
Middle East.
politics.
Maybe you should take some of these mics and cameras to
work.
the workplace, connect it up.
No, I think we'd be definitely cancelled.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes we go like very argumentative.
Get that on the new YouTube channel. Nah, I'm only playing. But no, it's really good, man. It's really good. Do you have to do like a dissertation or anything like this for uni or?
Well, I'm not doing a dissertation.
How
but
does it
I'm
work
doing,
now?
I'm doing like a show.
Oh,
It's gonna be on the 22nd of May. in
okay.
uni,
So
where
that's
I'm
something that you can speak about. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's
okay,
fine.
cool.
I'm doing it. You guys can come as well. It's about
Should we
what
bring
we're
the
talking
cameras?
about now. It's about the United States and Iran and
Okay.
the nuclear program. I'm actually working on this now.
Okay.
This is on the top of other assignments. I'm not doing the dissertation now.
Okay, cool.
So,
nice. So
yeah.
the show is your final project.
Yes.
Nice. Remind me, send me the details. I'd love to come.
Yeah, of course, bro. I'll
Yeah.
send it-
Should we
I'll
bring the
send it to you.
cameras, or we could just come and observe?
Well, I've not got too many ideas about it, but like I'll ask, and if,
Yeah,
they,
but I
if
think
they're okay,
for
bro, bring anything, man.
as long as they're all right, you know.
Yeah.
It's uni in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, sounds good. Any final words from either of you?
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for coming.
We'll do this again.
No,
Definitely.
definitely. Today we wanted to just learn the general, but next time we can get into arguments.
Yeah.
Till next time,
Ready for that.
see you soon.